Well, he did blow up cars full of people. Despite that whole thing, I guess a lot of people were just cool with the whole showdown. And Batman kicking Superman's butt, and the kryptonite gas canisters and all that jazz. Um, I would say that I can understand why some people really enjoy the movie for that reason. You got to see two of your favorite superheroes showdown in the same film. I just think that it took both characters being really, really stupid to make that happen. So that's what kind of throws it off for me. Um, both characters were really, really stupid. Batman. I think that when the office, the government office, when it blew up and everyone was like, "What happened here?" Was it Superman? Was it the guy in the wheelchair? I feel like that would have been a great moment for Batman to use some detective work and look a little bit further and then push to see, if Lex was actually that sharp. If they had Batman investigate the issue and then had Lex pretty much have a backup for that, I think it would have made it really intimidating. Um, because he would have had Lex outsmarting Batman for once, and he would have also had a more reason for Superman to get, Batman to get involved in the entire thing if he had pushed it a little bit further with that combination of things there, getting more escalation between Batman and Superman that made sense. Whereas instead you got, Superman can't be trusted. I'm Batman. I'm the best one to take him down. Let me go in here and train, like Rocky for a day or two, I guess, and then put on this bat suit. You couldn't really tell how long the training was actually happening either. You couldn't really tell like if it was like a day or two or if it was like an hour. I don't know how much time is passing in this movie at all. You can't tell like if it had only been a few days since the senator got taken out or if it was a week. All you see was Batman training and he's got the bat suit on and the robo arms and he's ready to go. With the giant sound bombs and like the machine guns and all that stuff, and that's all cool. It's a cool setup, but I think that Zack Snyder he fell into the trap that the same trap that Bryan Singer fell into with Superman Returns, where they wanted to make these odes to their favorite scenes from the film or from the books or the classic movies, and they wanted to make these things new for the screen, and they want to put so many of those moments and be the one to do those moments on screen. They forgot that they have to actually make them make sense for the movie they're doing. Case being in point, we get the whole showdown between Doomsday and Superman, and things escalate very quickly beyond just the ordinary superhero fight. You get the government deciding they want to nuke Superman and the Doomsday at the same time. As most people know, this is a scene from The Dark Knight Returns, in which the Superman gets hit with that nuke. But also, there's another one in Kingdom Come. There was a pretty huge storyline as well. It was driven and drawn by Alex Ross, in which the nuke wiped out half of the superhero population, basically. Um, but that's just showed you how far one way the movie goes. By the end of the film, you got Superman and Batman fighting. You got Superman pretty much fighting to save the world against Doomsday, who was just born like 10 minutes ago. Now they're flying off into space and fighting each other in space, and then the government decides to shoot a nuke up into space to take both of them out, which makes Doomsday stronger, brings him back down to Earth, and only way to stop him is to use kryptonite. It's even nerdy for me, like to just say these things, like in the way that they're being said, because it's just so over the top that you create this world that's somewhat grounded, and then you create characters like Doomsday, and the way they're created, the combination of the two together just does not work well. It wasn't balanced well for the film. There's some good ideas, terrible execution, but at the same time, you got some cool Batman scenes in there. When Batman tries to save Martha Kent, that was pretty cool. Also, when it was pretty cool up until the flamethrower moment, in which case we were just like, okay, so Batman back to killing folks. I just can't get down with that. It's not the Batman I want. I thought one of the things that makes me really excited for Daredevil is that he never plays with that line. You know what I mean? Like Daredevil, he plays. I mean, like he never crosses that line. I mean, he plays the line sometimes, but he didn't cross that line. He still values human life to the point in which he finds a way around it, and then sometimes he fails and the people die. But that's part of what makes it dynamic. Like he tries the best of his ability without losing himself. Whereas Batman's over the hill here. He's just like, okay, well, look, you're not gonna give me a chance to like save her about you dying, so you gotta go. And that's kind of, I guess, just not what I wanted from the film. Like I wanted Batman to triumph in a way that you used to Batman doing well. Like I want to see him actually go up against these guys with guns and be put into impossible situations and make it out, in the possible ways. Instead, they have him going the easy way out, like the action movie way, where people die. And it's like it's not as dynamic to me. It's not as creative as if you were to do some other shit. But that's just my opinion, guys. But besides that, I'd say that I'm still excited for some of the other films coming to Justice League. Aquaman could still be pretty interesting. The Green Lantern Corps might be pretty interesting too, depending on which lanterns they go with and characters, actors. So I kind of want to see more of what they make with that one. Wonder Woman, I think, is still going to be pretty cool. I'm actually interested in Wonder Woman, even though some more weird logic in that whole thing. Wonder Woman, she's been around, and they say the last time she's been seen was 1918, over 100 years ago. And so Wonder Woman wants to get this picture of her from 1918 back from Lex, who apparently has been keeping files on all these metahumans. I'm like, okay, that's fine, but it's a digital image. First off, it's not just like a photograph. Like, I'm sure Lex has copies of this shit everywhere. Like, oh, let me get this picture back from Lex Luthor. I'm pretty sure Lex has copies of that picture more than one place in his apartment. Just saying. Like, how do you stop a digital photo from being seen? It's not a comic book movie adaptation review on Doom's Half About a Kid's Rant. Yeah, I mean, like, I can understand. Like, this is a new generation. We got new people. We got kids. You got families. And this is going to be their first real sight of some of the characters. You know what I mean? And some many people are going to grow up with these versions of Batman and Superman and everything else here. I grew up with the animated series version of Batman and those characters, and then the Tim Burton version of Batman and that kind of stuff. And yes, Batman in Tim Burton's movies did kill people. He killed the Joker, which I never really liked, and it's a downfall for that film. But it still had a lot of good moments to it that I really enjoyed. This movie, to me, I feel like does not have enough moments that I've really enjoyed enough to want to see it again right now. I mean, like I could say like I've seen worse. Of course, there's been worse out here. Iron Man 3, and a few other films, Ghost Rider, Fantastic Four, Amazing Spider-Man 2. I have no desire to fucking see ever again. There's plenty of other movies out there that have been terrible as well, but it doesn't mean that I can just give this movie slack like it's just been, fantastic. It tries to do some things well, and there's a few good moments in there just squeezed in, and there's some good imagery. There's some solid fight scenes from time to time. Wonder Woman hopping around with her sword and shield was pretty badass, or cutting off his leg and stuff. That stuff was cool, but keep in mind, all that stuff is cool, and I'm not doubting any of that there, but just saying, I kind of wish that they have stuck more to a grounded story without the Justice League stuff. I think that yes, they wanted to create that kind of world, but I think it would have been better. It would have been better off if you just nod to them in different ways. Um, like if they just had the Flash cameo be, but I don't mind Flash traveling through time, future Flash traveling through time to warn Batman of what's happening. It was just at the point of when he did it that it was weird. If they had him do that kind of Flash future Flash, throw moment at the end of the movie, I think it would have made more sense and would have been more of a continuation of what they were trying to create for the Justice League. Whereas, Batman's like, okay, there's more people out here like us than just us right now. Who are these people and what do they do? I think that would have been a more interesting story and would have been a better option than having that happen towards the beginning of the film when the Batman's trying to figure out if Superman's dangerous or not, and that being the reason why he kind of goes one way or the other. I think that would have been a better decision. Then we have the end of the film, which I mean, I think it's still. I guess I can give them. I give Zack Snyder a little bit of credit for it because he at least he takes risks. It just ends up being bad ones. He does take risks, and so once again, guys, a movie filled with so much stuff, all crammed in one film. We got Superman fighting Doomsday. We got Batman vs Superman. We got Lex creating Doomsday. We've got the Flash and all the other characters popping up, and previews of those characters in the film. We got all that going down, and then you have the death of Superman. It's like I don't even know what to say, guys. Like that whole thing, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going this far, huh? We're gonna take it there. We're gonna take it all the way there. So we have Superman essentially dying Doomsday to save the world from a crazy menace. So Lex gets his way. Um, yeah. So you get that whole thing go down, and of course, in true Zack Snyder fashion, after just killing off a character, he shows signs of that character being alive again at the end of the film. So it completely underplays the entire situation. So instead of like that being some weight that you would have for the next film, like okay, there's something here, you completely wasted the audience's last 15 minutes of the film basically. Like we're gonna have this whole moment here of Superman dying and everything else there, and then we're gonna just completely pretend it didn't happen. Now to be fair, the death does kind of unify the world and also make Superman come off as a hero. That kind of ends the arc of Superman not being a character that you can trust, and him not being a savior, and him being here to destroy the world. It kind of ends that arc, and it makes people like, okay, well, Superman died for us, so therefore he is a hero, and we should worship him. Blah blah blah. It comes off. We finally get the Superman we're supposed to get now with that death. But there's a lot of savior and Christian mythology, I think, with this whole like resurrection and and it's come out like the week the week before Easter, and then you got Superman dying, and then he's rising up again. That whole thing is was just pretentious in my opinion. I didn't like how it was used. If you're gonna kill off a character like that, like a Superman at that scale, I think that it's better off to just leave him dead and then have Batman seeking out these heroes with Wonder Woman and trying to put together this Justice League in case something else happens. Then you have Flash show up and say, "Look, there's something bigger and better coming right now. Something bigger and badder than anything you just faced before." Make that a reason for them to come together, and then you have Superman come back by everyone's surprise when a character like Darkseid or something like that comes to Earth, and the Justice League aren't enough to take him down. Then you have Superman return as like the prodigal son, and he comes to save the day. That would be pretty awesome, in my opinion. I'd be more interested in that than what we got. Spider-Man 3. You know what? Spider-Man 3 is like my first major letdown. I feel like that was like one of the first movies I saw that I was all in on. I was all in on Spider-Man 3. I was like so hyped for that movie. So hype. Like after Spider-Man 2, when like the way they're leading in, it's like, oh, we get Venom and get like, the showdown between Harry Osborn and Spider-Man, and he's getting married and Mary Jane, and it was just looking so hype. I was like, oh god, I'm so hyped for this movie. Ended up being terrible. Worse than terrible, like awful, like super awful, like fantastically awful, fantastically bad. And ever since then, I've waited and I baited, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna wait my time. Gonna make sure I don't go in too heavy, thinking that this movie's gonna be really that good. But sometimes it still sneaks up on me. I'm like, okay, you know what? This might be a good movie. Might be more than good. It's one of those times where I think that there's still a chance for a few of these films coming out this year. We already had a podcast about that. But despite Justice League, Batman vs Superman happening the way it's happened so far, I'd say that I'm still excited for Suicide Squad. I'm still kind of hyped for um, Doctor Strange, Civil War, looking pretty hyped still. My Batman movie sense is going off for X-Men Apocalypse. It's not looking that good to me. I'm not sold on that one. But we'll see. I gave Batman Superman a chance. I wanted to give it a chance to see if it was worth it. And I'd say that this is one of those movies where I would not suggest spending too much money on it if you go see it in theaters. But if you catch it on FX, one day, or Spike TV or something, like a year from now, I'd say, maybe just watch it just to see how bad it is. Like, all right, I'm gonna stop hating on this movie, guys. It's been fun. Sorry about the break we took in the middle there. Basically, what I'm gonna do now, guys, I'm going to stop the stream for a few minutes. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna play a little bit of music on the background. I'm gonna play some Bloodborne for a few hours. But I think we did a pretty good roundup of most of the ideas, I guess, for Batman vs Superman. I think we got a pretty solid idea of what we thought was good about the movie and what we thought was bad. I think I should probably show some more hype to Wonder Woman, because I think that I'm really excited to see what they do with her movie. Because it is going to be a period piece, and it's going to be in 1918. I think that they have a few people already casted for it. They did show, what's his face? I can't think of his name right now. Captain Kirk. They did show him in the picture of Wonder Woman there too, so you can see her. I know he's been they've been talking about him as a candidate for a Green Lantern, like a new Hal Jordan. Chris Pine, I'm thinking of Chris Pine. They've been showing him all over the place, but he's in Wonder Woman apparently, so we'll see what happens.